this is Tai-Pan for Shenzai.com, and it's great to be back after the Chinese New Year break. Not been much happening on the tablet front for a while here in Asia, but today we're going to get right back into things with a little bit of a preview look at the Herotab C9. Now, if you remember the Herotab people, they've actually been reviewed quite a few times on our site with different products. They've got a pretty big product line, lots of different tablets, and one of them, the M10, I think it was, even won our product of the year or iPad clone of the year. So we're kind of looking forward to checking out this product for you guys. We've got a pre-production sample. We were kind of like pushing them to get some stuff to us, and what we've got our hands on here isn't the finished final product, but it's an early pre-production sample, so you'll have to kind of bear that in mind as we kind of take a look at the product. You can see it comes in a white box. If you've heard of white box PCs before, this is definitely your plain version of the white box for tablets. I'm not sure if that's how it's going to actually ship. There'll probably be some markings and things on it then, but when you go for pre-production products, this is what you get. Opening up your white box, ta-da, you get to look at a lovely 7-inch tablet that's also encased here nicely inside of the little sort of portfolio style type Filofax case. It's very nice. The device itself, as you can see, is a white colored tablet, which is a little bit changed. You don't see those all the time. Also inside of the box though, the Herotab people have really thought of everything for a tablet of this size. Obviously they feel the 7-inch form factor also lends nicely to being inside of your car and mounted. So if you look at there, we've got a car charger, we've got a mini USB to regular USB connection, and we've also got the same again with another USB cable with the female side of things. Here within this microscope looking type device is the actual attachment to connect your device through this particular little piece here on the back to mount it in your car or somewhere else that you want to get it fixed on the wall, for example. That's all you get in the box as far as we can tell, or at least in the pre-production sample, and here's the product. So let's take a little walk around the hardware that you're going to get and find inside the box. It's a 7-inch screen device. I think it's almost the same size as the Dell Streak. I've played with the Streak a little bit, but I haven't had one in my hands for a while. It seems like it might be a touch wider than the Streak, but otherwise it seems to be about the same weight. The finish on the material of the plastics and whatnot is similar to the Dell Streak as well. Looking around the device, at the top here you'll note there's a tiny little divot, and actually that's used for attaching the back plate, which will further attach the device to the connection for your car mount. If we come around this side of the device, you'll see that there's nothing, just a little line where the back and the front plates meet as a sort of a seam, and coming along this side again there's another divot for the connection for the back plate for the car mount, and on the back here is actually an interesting but different type of implementation for the SD card. So you pop your SD card underneath the little metallic panel you see here, just like the same way you would in some SIM cards for some phones. And you can see here they've left a space that's not being used now, but you can easily imagine some future generations of the C9 coming out with some SIM card and 3G connectivity. On the back here you'll also notice that there's a couple of vents for the panels for allowing the speaker noise out of the product, and the speaker quality is actually fairly decent. One of the nice things as we go around the device is you'll be wondering there's some little panels here covering the screws, but there's also an interesting little white plastic hole here. Now this is a pre-production version, so what we're expecting to see here is a web camera. And if you look onto the front side of the device quickly, you'll note there's also the same here. It could be one of those dual web cameras that can point one at a time, either front or back, allowing you probably the option to do FaceTime type video conferencing type software for Android, or pointing out and actually taking pictures with the device. Down here we've got a little bit of an I/O panel. You'll see there's the power supply connection, HDMI out, which is going to be great later as we show you some of the video performance from the product. We're expecting with the Samsung processor to see good things there in terms of possibly even 1080p performance. There's a mini USB connection. Now there's also a earphone, but I believe that's also a microphone jack, because I think with the 3G connectivity and the SIM card slot there, they're probably looking at having the ability to be able to hook up a microphone as well as headphone into the device. Coming around to the front side, you'll see it's also a little bit unique in the sense that you can see here, there's a little microphone on board built in here in this tiny little slit along the bottom, and then you're moving up into actually more than your typical 3 hardware buttons, which is kind of nice to see. There's a dedicated power button. There's also up and down volume control, which controls ringer, of course, if you're on the home page, but we also noted that it is well mapped and works with the volume control of things like movies when you're inside of the movie application, so it can control your volume easily from outside of your device. A lot of times you have to do that in software, so I think that's a real advantage on this device. There's your back, search, menu, and home keys that you come to expect on an Android implementation. And in terms of actual hardware features, with the exception of the lovely capacitive touchscreen, that's probably about it for the device. So the C9's got a very nice capacitive touchscreen. It's got a lot of applications loaded on it that you'll find typical on Chinese tablets, not a lot of the more common ones that our Western markets are used to. In fact, you won't find Gmail or the Android market on here, but they do actually have two of their own markets already included on the device. One of those, which is the Go market here, can show you all kinds of different applications and games that they've got loaded in there. A lot of them are the Chinese ones, but you'll see that it also includes things like Gmail and Angry Birds, and in the top 50, there isn't so different from the top 50 that you'll find in the Android market. You'll see there's some file manager software, that stupid talking cat app that I can't stand. And that's the kind of things you can come to expect in that. If you're going to be buying a device like this at $260 or so price range, you know, you'll probably have to expect to be able to do without the Google blessing and settle for things like side-loading your own apps that you can download and pretty easily find in all kinds of locations on the internet now. I don't think that's such a problem. One of the things, of course, is that it's got the Samsung 1 GHz Cortex A8 processor inside, so we're expecting to see some pretty decent performance in terms of video playback, which is one of the things that stresses your tablet the most. So let's take a look inside the file manager into our test folder, and the first thing I need to do is, this is my first apology to you guys for 2011. We promised that we would have a new Booth Babe video for you guys to watch, but to be honest, we haven't loaded it up yet into our test folder of content. So sadly, you still get the our old Booth Babe video. But I think from the comments when we showed off our Booth Babe video, some of you guys didn't seem to mind that button. Anyway, so as our SD card full of test content shows here, we've got 1080p, 480, E720p, 480, different types of file formats. We'll try and show you how those play off. We did discover that when you have an option of using the video player or the bog standard movie player that comes with Android, that the actual movie player does play the 1080p version of the Booth Babe video, not too badly. It's not 100%, but it's probably as close as we've seen to like a full 1080p playback without going to a Tegra 2 device. So for that, I think that's probably almost one of your cheap, $260, you're probably looking at one of your cheapest ways to get 1080p video playback on a tablet. So we've got some other file types here. Let's try the WMV file and see how it plays that. Oops, won't play the WMV version. For you fans of the Microsoft, let's try playing it with the video player. Video player software that comes with the device won't play that either. So stay away from WMV. Let's take a look at some, we've got MP4 that we've already played for you. Let's try an MPEG. Okay, so looks like the tablet is showing some preference for playing MPEG for video. And we've got a Matroska file here. No, and both of the both video formats won't be recognized by that as well. So it looks like you're wanting to stick with, you can play high definition video, but you're probably going to want to try to have your files in an MP4 format if you want to play them smoothly on the device. There is an ebook reader software included on the device that's been preloaded. Looks like a pretty nice implementation. You can see they've got Angry Birds on the device. You know, you can't go anywhere without Angry Birds flocking to you in Android. It's also got a e-compass. The device seems to have a fairly good sensation of its position, and it's one of the few devices, you'll see it in a little bit, that also does a great job of recognizing whether it's in portrait mode or not. Just for fun and something a little bit different, I'm going to show you the G sensor calibration on the device. One of the things I have to say is that it actually probably recognized its orientation at least as fast as my HTC Desire HD, which is a high-end phone. So of course that's a benefit if you can have that. Now you can see they've got these 2 level indicators, and you have to put the device down flat. When it's flat, you press the calibration button, and then the levels figure out that the device is now flat, automatically calibrates itself, and then you hit back to enter out of the program. Now you can see that it's lined up nicely. Flip it over, and it changes almost instantaneously. It's really got a great G-sensor performance. If you're one of those people that's irritated by those few moments while you're waiting in between for your device to change its orientation, this device does that really quickly. So while a bomb blast in Angry Birds might not sound like the most exciting thing in the world, it isn't probably too bad of an indicator of how good the SoC's performance for real-time reaction to the 2D graphics experience that's happening on there. As you can see, things are exploding and falling all over the place nicely. There's no breakdown in the audio quality whatsoever. And if I could actually hit any of the targets, you'd probably get to see some real action. No, I think the Angry Birds performance on this device is excellent. So, as we pointed out at the beginning when we did the unboxing part of the video, you'll note that there is some equipment here to connect this or mount your device, typically in a car. You'll see there's the car power supply adapter piece here, and the back panel that actually slides onto the device. Now this back panel is kind of unique in that it also offers a little bit of functionality, so you can stand your device up and down to watch movies on a little bit of an angle there. And even hidden inside of there, they've got a little stylus for you. You know, God love them, you can't get away from the styluses, the old Chinese tablets. But then this particular backplate piece, you'll see that there's actually a couple of little indentations on both sides of the device there. Just slide it on the back till it finds the indentation, and then it snaps tightly into place, and now you've got your backplate actually snugly on your device. And then it's a matter of, you'll see that there's 4 connections here in the back, and you take the 4 little connections here on the top of the stand, pop those into it, and then push forward to snap them firmly into place. And then you've got an incredibly very stable holding for the mount. You'll be able to adjust the angle and the tension on the mount with these particular knobs here on the side. And there's got a massive suction cup that you can connect to your dashboard. Pressing down closes the seal tightly, and now we've got our mounted, dashboard mounted device. So I think what the Herotab people are trying to do with the C9 is bring a little bit more performance oomph to the 7-inch form factor segment. Typically we've only seen 1080p video playback on some of the larger 10-inch size devices. The Samsung 1 GHz processor obviously doing the hard work inside of this device, and for $260 that brings the performance price down to the smaller form factor segment. I think it's got a lot of nice little touches, including the car mount and the power adapter that come with the device, and even the little portfolio style case is quite nice. At $260, it is a little bit on the expensive side for the Shanzai tablets, but at the same time, when you see what's happening with the mainstream industry, products are all coming out around the $500 or $600 tablet space price. It's still half the price of those products, but probably a lot more than half the value. So in that sense, I think it's probably a good buy for those who are fans of the Herotab.